What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over the MLB slate for this afternoon. This is I guess, the main slate. There's only two games tonight, and those are considered the night slate. Very compact six game slate today. So I figured I would spend a little bit of time just kind of banging this out. For those of you that joined the live sweat last night, that was obviously a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing that. Not as young as I used to be. Otherwise, I would do it more than once a week. But once a week should be enough of a taste of what of that kind of thing. First of all, let's look at the weather. This is Roth's new site. I think it's free for now, so as long as it's free, may as well share it. Um, it looks as though there's no weather concerns here. The other thing I want to just kind of note, I mean, I always like to look at this, is the way the slate kind of breaks down as far as timing goes. So it does start at 12:35, and there's not a lot of late swap window here. You know, even if you are really, really, psycho about it, you could technically get one in at maybe at like 1 o'clock, or maybe like 1:25 or something if you were so inclined. But it's not. You don't have that same late swap edge when you have a breakdown like this. But you see that everything looks pretty clear as far as the weather goes. Nothing really to think about. Is it a 6 game slate? Five? Yeah, 6 game slate. So what I'm going to do is a couple of things. I'm going to go through my projections a little bit, and then I'm going to compare those to what we would get using Patriots optimals, for example. And then we're going to go ahead and build a little bit. First of all, with respect to the pitching here, again, you'll get used to this. I'm sorting by my own. This is literally my own sheets, and this one is ranking by value score, which is a combination of just kind of raw points and point per dollar, sort of. And you'll see that from a pitching perspective, Max Fried is really standing out. Very, very tough to fade this type of edge when you have an 8 point value score advantage. That's just from doing this for a while. So if you're going to get different, I would probably advise to go elsewhere aside from stacking the Angels, for example. But that's up to you. The next group of pitchers, I see they're all sort of close here with Bubic, Ashcraft, Roop, and Burns. And I do think that Burns obviously carries the most upside of these options, and he's also going to carry the second most ownership. It's almost impossible to be wrong on this. I feel as though if Max Fried is not the top owned guy and Chase Burns is not the second owned, then I'm really looking at things incorrectly. I can't imagine that not being the case. So in low risk, I'd imagine you could certainly go Max Fried and Chase Burns. And if you want to go pivot in GPPs, pretty much anybody else is worth it. And the funny thing is, even though Burns has more upside, these guys do rank pretty well, like Roop and Ashcraft and whatever. So, and Bubic. So I wouldn't have a problem if you were going to try to get a little bit different to play something like Fried with one of these others. I would rather do that than Burns or one of the others. Just Fried is such he's such an edge here, and he has a little more upside than is usual. The only thing I will say, by the way, is that now this is all factored into the projections, obviously, but it is hot in New York. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they're going to be setting a record for heat today, for temperature. So that's obviously usually pretty favorable to hitting. And the Angels have been striking the ball with great force. They had those back-to-back home runs the other night. So yeah, maybe. Now that I'm thinking of maybe you can play a couple of Angel stacks just for funsies. But Max Fried just doesn't give up too much. It's the best I could describe it. Okay. when it comes to the stacks, whether, again, I can't show you that view, but I will just kind of go through it. The Yankees are, I mean, clear in a way the best projected stack, and they are clearly in a way the highest owned. Okay. The real question is going to be where you go outside of the Yankees. I'll just share a couple of thoughts with you. I think that the next group, if you're just looking at raw points, it's going to be something like Kansas City, Tampa, Cincinnati. The thing is that all these guys are very much the same, like Washington, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. I mean, literally every other team except Detroit I have lower, and the White Sox I have lower, and the Angels I have lower, actually. So if you want to take like Toronto, San Fran, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Washington, Cincinnati, Tampa, Casey, throw them all into a hat and see who's going to be the lowest owned of those and play them. I think that's worth trying. And based on my ownerships, the two lowest owned of that group is going to be either Cincinnati. Well, actually, I think it's San Francisco. So if you want to get a little bit, and this is just pure vibe, hand building, whatever, is you stack San Francisco instead of the Yankees, and that's the way you get different. And just to kind of go through who would my top guys from San Francisco be, would be, I mean, the guys that everybody knows would be Chapman. Oh, and this makes sense because you actually get leverage against Burns. So this I actually like. So this would be the leverage that I would probably recommend here. So let's see, San Francisco. Let's look at Adames, 4,300 at shortstop, and then Arias. I mean, this is a sweet little stack here, right? And then Jung-Ho Lee in the outfield. And then you play something like Fried and anything, honestly. I mean, just take your favorite. If you want to go for correlation, you can play Roop, you know? But I wouldn't do that. I mean, just in case the stadium is particularly favorable, I wouldn't want to get involved in that. So really anybody else, I mean, Ashcraft, I mean, he makes sense, you know, whatever. So I think this is kind of a good way, if you're going to hand build, to try to deal with this. And the other guys in the lineup here, I mean, they kind of play themselves. I mean, let me see. Who's a good catcher, like based on my things, based on my value scores? Okay, Caro from the White Sox looks pretty good. Salvador Perez from Kansas City. And he's got actually upside. We'll take a look at that. See what his price. He's only 3,300. Maybe you do something like this. You could do whatever you want here. I mean, you could even go up maybe to Bubic if you want, and then you get correlation with like this. I mean, has he done anything, Bubic, recently? I mean, just came off a 40 fantasy point game. I mean, he's obviously feeling it. So yeah, how about this? How about we play Bubic and Fried, stack San Francisco, and then fill it in with some Kansas City stuff maybe. Perez would be the way I would start. I wonder if any of these guys are multi-position. Arias, first base, second base. That really doesn't help. Devers. I want to see if I can get Witt or somebody a little bit better for Kansas City. But you see, I mean, like this is I think this is very, very reasonable. I think Perez is a good one-off. Who's this Caglione character? I mean, no home runs, just no power. I don't know if I want to do this. Massey hasn't really done anything yet. Just play Perez, I guess, as a one-off. And then maybe a two-man from the Yankees, something like that. Maybe get a little less owned this way. Suter's a lefty, so I'd probably want to do something like here. And who else could you play at 3,100? Just again, this is pure vibes. You know what I mean? Maybe you play Magnum just because of a nice little one-off over there. So this is definitely something you could do. Let's take a look at what we would get if we looked at the Patriot Optimals, and then we're going to build with SaberSim and see the difference what we get over there. So I pulled up the Patriot Optimals here, and this is a very interesting group. We're getting all this Ashcraft and Fried in the Optimals. Ashcraft 142 out of 150. And then like all these Yankees, it looks like. Player frequency, a lot of Jazz. Big amount of Guerrero, though, which is definitely interesting. So maybe I should play this Ashcraft guy instead of Bubic. Possible. But I think that's what you want to do. I mean, like the Yankees are the chalk. You can certainly play them, but I don't know why. I'm kind of down with the San Francisco idea. And really what you do is you play, and if you want to really take a stand, you could play 100% of your lineups either with Burns or with San Francisco. Because Burns does have, he does have a range of outcomes. I remember all the way back to when we first started playing him. I mean, like sometimes he doesn't find the plate, whatever. So let's go into SaberSim and see what we get there. And I haven't even done this yet. So I wonder what we get from SaberSim. So if we went with the Patriot Optimals, we'd be getting like all those Yankees, but we're getting a bunch of Ashcrafts instead of Chase Burns. If we went by my straight projections and like vibes, I would either play Yankees or if I would look, I think that San Francisco would be a good little leverage play. But let's take a look and see here. Now again, I want to only play. I want to play reasonable stuff, so I'm going to play either 5-3, 5-2s, 5s, and 4s, 4-4s. Do we need to build 20,000 lineups? I mean, Adam Perry would say, well, why not? So yeah, okay, let's build 20,000 lineups. It'll take a few minutes, but we got plenty of time. And in the meanwhile, we'll take a gander at our Jordan Smith with a double bogey. He was off to a great start. How do you get a double bogey? You're sitting in the freaking fairway on 18, a -4 for the tournament, and then you double bogey to go to -2. That's a little annoying because he was my 2% owned guy in the big buy-in, and kind of gave it all back there at the end. Minwoo Lee, -3. Karis English is -4. McIntyre is -3. Hovland is -3. Cam Young is only even. Sunjay M was off to a good start at -5. This guy Brennan -6, having a good day. Scheffler came in much higher owned than I thought, at 28%. But again, as I discussed, you have his ability to go stars and scrubs rather handily in no-cut events. So let's see what we get here. Now again, I don't want to get too into SaberSim discussion, but it's going to depend on what type of settings you use. For those of you that use the software, whether you do min uniques 1 or we go into full portfolio diversification mode. But I'm gonna let's see what happened if I use the portfolio manager actually while that's happening. So let's just use select the contest. Let's use the bat flip, and we'll load the selected pricing. We'll use the pay dirt database, and then we will use the pay dirt projections file. Oh, I didn't wait long enough. Is that what happened? Yeah, I think I same problem I always seem to have. So let's do it again. We'll go slow. Okay, we'll do bat flip, load pricing. Nobody's doing anything. Now we'll go load from database. That's good. Now we'll load projection file. That looks good. Let's manage portfolio and see what we get here. Okay. So this is probably close to the optimals here. So what we want to do is let's see. We'll try to stratify this in a minute, but before we do that, we're going to look at the stacks, the stack stats. For example, let's hit analyze stacks. What would I be getting here using the portfolio manager? Yeah, so we're getting a bunch of this Toronto business, huh? That's very interesting. I would not have expected that. And then also almost no Yankees. I mean, we're going for some serious leverage here. Very interesting. So that's so Toronto, Milwaukee, Kansas City. That's what we'd be getting here as far as our stacks go. As opposed to on SaberSim, like using my own projections, I will see what those look like. I can't imagine it looking like that. We shall see. But in no case am I getting these San Franciscos. Well, I kind of want to force in some San Francisco just for funsies, no? And that's like completely not my jam. Like force guys in, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, they project pretty well. They're getting leverage. I might just kind of enter one more big buy-in just with that lineup. Who knows? I have been known to do that. Let's see what I get with SaberSim. Maybe I should play some of these pay dirt portfolio manager lineups with all these Torontos. I mean, it seems to be pretty contrarian. That Jordan Smith thing is really annoying. I just thought I'd let you know that. All right, so here, like a bunch of Yankees, Kansas City, Tampa. Nobody wants to let me play San Francisco. Let me see if instead of using the portfolio diversification mode, we did min uniques 2. See if that changed anything. Yeah, now we're getting all this Tampa. So what this means is that Tampa is a very, very high ROI option. And very, very little San Francisco. So maybe what I can do, this is probably not what you're supposed to do here, but I'm just kind of in the mood. Let's give ourselves a minimum of 20% of Toronto, because we're paying homage to the portfolio manager. We want to play a minimum of 20 Tampa because they really want me to play him here, just the 5-man. And then I definitely want to play like a bunch of these San Franciscos. Okay. So that's going to probably leave me a bunch. The only thing with Tampa is they tend to what's the word I'm looking for? To pinch hit, but it's a 6-game slate. All right. So let's do this and let's apply and see what this would look like. And we'll still do portfolio diversification, but I'm going to demand this. I'm getting 39% Tampa. Again, I don't want to complain about that. But here, what we want to do is we still want to be in portfolio plus mode, though. That's the problem. Let's see. So what I want to do is I want to set a minimum and then also have it diversify for me. So now I'm getting 24% San Fran, 16% Tampa, 14% Toronto. Okay, this is fine. What is this doing to me? This says could not. Well, we'll deal with that later, I guess. Yeah, so whenever you start messing around, it does become a little bit annoying. So why don't we do this? Let's rebuild the whole thing with these constraints. So with the 5-man stacks, we want minimum of 30% San Fran, 20% Tampa, 20% Toronto, and let's do a max. Why not? Just like old school. We'll go 30. No, I don't want to do a maximum. I kind of want to just rebuild. We could apply. I don't know how I want to do this, honestly. Let's do everything in portfolio plus mode, I guess. We'll set our minimums, and then we'll see what we get. And again, I struggled a little bit in baseball the last couple of days, so maybe we'll shake it up a little bit. Small slate. So make sure I get some of the Torontos, make sure I get some of the Tampas, make sure I get some of the San Frans, and then we'll ride. And we have nothing but 5-mans and 4-4s. So let's save these. So that's one way you can play. Okay. I guess that's pretty much all I want to discuss. You know, you want me to try to stratify and really start to and really start to get annoyed? Let's see. Weighted ownership. Let's see how that would work. And we'll analyze those after we stratify it a little bit. Stacks. Let's see. Once again, it really wants you to play these Torontos. So I will. I mean, I'll play some Torontos. I'll play some. I guess Milwaukee's too. But I definitely like the San Francisco idea. Okay, that is going to do it. I'm going to do UFC probably at 1 o'clock after this DraftKings slate locks. And that's going to do it. Good luck, everybody.